I love Ridin Durty radio. Vic XL. And just like that, once again, it's on.
And just like that, once again, it's on. What's up, world? It's your boy Vic XL. This is the Ridin Durty show, and it is December the 26th. Hopefully, everyone had a Merry Christmas and having a happy holidays. Hopefully, you're enjoying your time with your family. You're not spending a lot of time at work, and you're just getting a chance to relax and spread love, man. I gotta say, one time for my entire family, I love you guys. We had a wonderful holiday, and hey, man, you guys are the best. Now, before we get into this show, I always like to tell you, the show that you're watching or listening to is brought to you by the good people over at Dr. Juice Cleanse. That's right, Dr. Juice Cleanse is an all-natural cleanser, which promises that you can lose up to 25 pounds in just 10 days. All you have to do is follow their very, very simple steps. Now, you tell me, who out there don't want to lose a little weight? Especially 25 pounds in just 10 days? Man, you know what? A lot of people making a lot of New Year's resolutions. Hey, make your New Year's resolution be to get you some Dr. Juice Cleanse and lose weight. But not only does Dr. Juice Cleanse help you lose weight, but it does a lot of other great things to your body. Like it can remove all kind of nasty mucus and fungus and just all things in your body that's just not supposed to be there. Well, Dr. Juice Cleanse can get it up out of there, get it out of there, you know what I'm saying? That's what Dr. Juice Cleanse do. Also, it can slow down the aging process, you know. It'll get rid of all those wrinkles in your face when you're looking prematurely old or looking older than you really are. Well, Dr. Juice Cleanse can slow that process down. Also, it can help relieve stress. And this time of year, I'm telling you, a lot of us are stressed out. Because a lot of us spend way too much damn money on gifts. And you stress like hell. So, Dr. Juice Cleanse can help relieve some of that stress. You know what? I was about to tell you some more things that Dr. Juice Cleanse can do. But if I tell you everything Dr. Juice Cleanse does for your body, then you won't have to go to drjuicecleanse.com. And what I really want you to do is go to drjuicecleanse.com. Find out about all the great things it can do for you, and hopefully you'll get you some. All right, so remember, drjuicecleanse.com. Check them out and tell them the good people at Ridin Durty Radio sent you. Now, before I get too deep into the show, I want to observe a moment of silence for someone who's been an influence in my professional life. Right before Christmas, we lost a pioneer to the podcast game. Definitely a pioneer to the hip-hop podcast game. So I want to give a moment of silence to my man, Combat Jack, a.k.a. Reggie Osei. Alright, now, for y'all who don't know who Combat Jack is, Combat Jack was probably, if not the first hip-hop podcast, he's definitely on the forefront, and he definitely had one of the most popular hip-hop podcasts. He's also a former entertainment attorney. He founded the first urban podcast network called the Loudspeakers Network. They host shows like The Read. They host 85 South. The Loudspeaker Network launched a lot of great independent podcasts. Combat Jack is responsible for some of the greatest, what I consider some of the greatest hip-hop interviews over the past 7 years. But he lost a battle to colon cancer. He was only 48 years old. It saddens me, you know, because like I said, he's one of the people that really made me want to get into the podcast game. Even though I was doing radio, he really made me want to get in the podcast game. So he will be sorely, he will be missed, man. I'm telling you, he will be missed. But if you get a chance, just go over to SoundCloud, type in Combat Jack, And just for Comeback Jack, listen to a couple of those episodes and you'll be hooked. And you'll be listening to the rest of that man's stuff for the next 2 years. He got 7 years worth of material right there on SoundCloud. All right, I want to say happy birthday to a few people. First and foremost, I want to say happy birthday and rest in peace to former Flavor Unit MC Apache. Apache was well known. He had a song in the early 2000s called Gangsta Bitch. Happy birthday to him. I also want to say happy birthday to a former guest that was on the Ridin Durty show earlier this year, my man Prodigy of the group Mindless Behavior. I also want to say happy birthday to a couple of my Facebook friends. First, I want to say happy birthday to Atlanta MC Scapegoat Jones. He's definitely been doing his thing for a while in the underground Atlanta scene. He's released a few dope projects. I'm telling you, Scapegoat definitely was one of my favorite MCs in the Atlanta scene. So if you ever get a chance or no Scapegoat, tell him happy birthday. He has an independent record label called Work the Move Records. Happy birthday to him. And last but not least, to my Facebook friends, I want to say happy birthday to one of the originators of hip-hop independent broadcasting over at WRFG. My man started a show called Outlaw Radio. His name is Malik Kalam. So if y'all know Malik Kalam, if you know Scapegoat Jones, or you're a fan of Prodigy or Mindless Behavior or Apache, wish them a happy birthday, man. December 26th is their day, and hopefully they've enjoyed it to the fullest. All right, so we got a very, very interesting show coming up. We're going to get right into it, and before the show ends, hopefully I'll give you a little hip-hop news, and I also got a song of the day. But enough of that for now. I want to bring on my guest. Right now we have an author on the line, and his name is Mr. Jeremy McZeal. How you doing this evening, sir?
I am phenomenal, Vic. Can you hear me?
I hear you a little bit, but it's like a little static. Check your mic. Check it up one time for me. Jeremy, you still there?
Can you hear me there?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, big guy. So how you doing this evening?
Awesome. Yeah. Phenomenal, man. I'm so thrilled. I mean, it's a lot going on right now, so I'm happy to be on the show. I'm really privileged that you have me on your show as well. It's been big. Just releasing a lot of projects and really putting my name out there and doing what I can for the world, you know.
All right, the first thing I got to talk about is we got to get into this real quick. I was noticing that you are a Texas native. Are you a Dallas Cowboy fan?
Indeed. I am not a Dallas Cowboy fan. No, I'm not.
How are you from Texas and you're not a fan of the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, the thing is, growing up where I'm from, I grew up in Port Arthur, Texas. So we don't have a specific team. I know people around there, they may have those, but the way I grew up, my first football game was a all-star game that I saw, all Pro Bowl. So I had multiple players that played for different teams on the same team. So I grew up loving different players, you know what I'm saying, from different teams. But I always had my favorite players, like Larry Fitzgerald. I played college ball, wide receiver for Prairie View A&M. So that was my favorite wide receiver, growing up. So that's pretty much why I don't have a specific team that I like, and the Dallas Cowboys just, at that time, was not my favorite team.
That's okay, but you said you're from Port Arthur, Texas, so you're from home of UGK.
Indeed.
All right, what was it like growing up in Port Arthur?
Ooh. It was pretty tough. I came from a single-parent home. It was 8 of us in the home. I was the second to youngest. I had 6 other siblings. My older brother was actually in prison, so I grew up around a lot of. My mom was a trying mom. She had 4 jobs, trying to take care of all these kids in the home. And me being the youngest and the only boy, there was no way that I was able to come home without my sisters being, with me. So that was a pretty tough moment for me. And especially going along with my book, I talk about my autobiography and my lifestyle and how I grew up, this first book is really just to touch on the different aspects of my life, And then the second book that I'll put out will be going into detail on those different aspects and how to get through to your breakthrough. But, I grew up a different way. I actually left home at about 14 years old. I started my first job working for Chesapeake Seafood Corporation over off 7th Street in Port Arthur. And it was pretty tough. But I was in a bunch of gangs. I had some gang violence going on, and just really get suspended from school a lot, from fighting and all these different things. So the change that I've gone through has really brought about and manifested this piece that I have out right now called Power of the Tongue, because you really can become more than what you think you can by actually speaking things into existence,
All right, I got to ask you. You left home at 14 years old. Like, what is a 14-year-old to do on their own?
Struggle. I was actually homeless for a little bit and got into the foster care system, which I didn't agree with, because all my foster care parents had us do was pretty much clean up the house all day. It was a roach-infested home. She had dogs everywhere, so they had dog feces everywhere. It was a really, really bad situation. So the only way that I felt I could get out of that situation was to really leave. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a how or a when, but I did have a why, and that's what really kept me going. And my why was to help my mom out and help my sisters out and stuff like that. So I just really wanted to change the culture of my family. But at 14 years old, I actually got in contact with an uncle of mine who got me on at that seafood corporation that I worked for. So I worked there for about a good year or so, and it was tough. It was really, really tough work, not work that I was used to at 14 years old, and it was a horrible experience, man. I was sleeping in slides on the park, abandoned buildings and stuff like that. And then I got in touch with some really good friends whose house that I didn't want to leave at all. I tried my best to spend the night at their house. They asked me, why you never go home? And that was pretty much the reason why I was never going home, because I didn't have a home to go to. So it was pretty tough, but it made me into who I am today, which this book is really, really going to hit people's hearts. It's going to tug at their hearts, but that's what it's all for, to let them know that, it doesn't matter what you go through. It doesn't matter how you start or anything like that. It matters how you adjust to these hard situations, All
right. So tell me, you also mentioned gang activity. What influenced you to join gangs, and what influenced you to give that lifestyle up? And if you could just right now because right now the gang culture is really, really big. What words could you say to youth who could possibly listen to the show now at a later date when it comes to gangs? But first, what drew you to gangs, and what made you leave, and just a little word of advice?
What drew me to gangs, my mom, like I said, she was a single parent, so she was doing everything that she could to take care of us. So she was dating different men, and that really, one of the guys that she dated, he had kids, and two of his sons were affiliated with Bloods and Crips. So the Crips, the sons that were on the Crip side of the gang, I actually took a liking to them. I started hanging out with them more and stuff like that. So I started smoking a lot of marijuana. I started skipping school a lot. I started to really just do things that I didn't grow up doing. I wasn't accustomed to. So the fact that I grew up as an only son, not an only son, but being in that house with being the only son, with my brother being in prison, I didn't have that guidance or that teaching to know, what to do or what not to do as far as these people that I was hanging out with. But I just really wanted to to fit in pretty much. I wanted to be, to mean something to somebody, because my lifestyle wasn't going how I wanted it to go. So that's how I wanted to connect with those guys. And I just got pulled into that. I really did. And I didn't really know what was going on until I was really in it. So carrying guns is just something that I didn't see myself doing. Selling drugs, didn't see myself doing that either. And just bullying people, because I always got bullied growing up. So that was my way of like having some type of power that I thought was power, or having some type of protection with these guys behind me or inside of me, thinking that they had my back, but they really didn't. But what changed for me was when one of the guys had got struck by lightning on the telephone, and he had passed away.
Whoa.
You know, and at that point, I really got close to these guys, and that hit me really, really hard, because when you walk into the house and you see this guy, he was already a dark-skinned guy, but to see how it changed the color of his skin and burnt his skin off of his hand and his face, and you know, it was a horrible sight to see. But that really changed it for me. Like, man, maybe that's a sign that I don't really need to be doing this. I really don't. So I went into like a phase of really cleansing myself. I started to associate myself with like my mentor, like Mr. Donald Bradley. He introduced me to network marketing, and it really changed my life, because I was able to self-educate myself into understanding who I was, what I wanted out of life, and how to get it. You know, and it all takes action. It all takes preparation, you know, execution. So those are the things that I wasn't doing the right way. I wasn't using my talents how I was supposed to be using my talents. So the word of advice that I would say as far as gang activity is, mentors really change a lot in someone's life. You know, you don't know how important a mentor is until you actually get a mentor. I'm not talking about somebody who's walking you through every step. They're pushing you through every step. You know what I'm saying? They give you, it's like a football player and a coach. They give you plays, you run the play, you don't ask questions. You just know that if your why is strong enough, you get to that end result that you want, that you desire. You know? So I talk about that in my book as well, Power of the Tongue, that it goes back to speaking things into existence. You got to know what you want out of life in order to have some type of path to stay on. It's never the path that everyone travels, which everyone wants it to be easy, and it's never easy. You know, you have to take that path less traveled. You have to just go with the why. Don't worry about the how. Don't worry about the when. Don't worry about how it's all going to come together. Just keep going with the why and strengthen that why and move forward.
Oh man!
So the mentor really, really changed my situation, because I didn't have my father wasn't never in my life, and never in my life, and you know, it doesn't have to be a male. It could be a female. You know, but it's just somebody that you need to cling to, that's living a lifestyle that you want to live, that's you know, educating themselves just as much as you want to educate yourself. To be honest, the books really changed everything for me. The mentor and the books.
All right. At what point did you realize you wanted to be an author?
Oh, I realized I wanted to be an author when I wrote my first poem. It was back in 2007. Like I said, I didn't know how I was going to do it. I saw these books that I was reading. I saw the poetry that I was writing. I was like, well, they're writing these books. I'm writing this poetry. I think it kind of goes hand in hand. I didn't have like I said, I didn't have the guidance. I didn't have someone telling me, oh, you should be an author or anything like that. It's just I put the pieces together. You know, like everyone has their own puzzle. So I put the pieces together and started implementing my plan on how to become an author. What does it take to become an author? Boo-boo is amazing, you know. But the thing is, from 2007 up until now, I was procrastinating, because instead of me asking questions, I was trying to figure things out for myself or by myself, and I also wasn't seeking counsel or guidance on how to do it. So my mentor came to me and he was like, you know, what goals have you set out for yourself? And I told him, you know, one thing I want to do is write this book. I want to write a few books. And he was like, well, how long have you been writing this book? I said, I've been writing it since 2007. I have like 5 different books that I'm about to put out. And he was like, why has it taken you so long to put out one book? And that dawned on me like, why have I? But that's what it is. I've been procrastinating. So I'm really releasing these books now. It started with Power of the Tongue, and then we're going to have that next version, which Power of the Tongue talked about my past. Then we're going to go into the present now. So my life has really encouraged me to write a book. I feel like everyone needs to hear that I'm just an ordinary guy, just like everybody else, but I'm pushing myself to do extraordinary things. So if I can do it, you can do it. If I came from humble beginnings, you can do the same thing. Doesn't matter where you came from, doesn't matter your background. Just get it done. It only takes action. It only takes you believing in yourself, betting on yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I became an author because I wanted to become an author. Nobody had to convince me. It's something that I wanted to do. So now, with every goal that I set, I want to do it. And all I need is a plan. All I need is that idea of yeah, I want to do it. And I figure out how to do it. I make adjustments when I fail. I accept failure as a learning process, and I keep going on and on and on. That's the power of the tongue. I tell myself I can do it, and I get it done.
All right, so you definitely believe in the power of speaking things into existence. Everything should be spoke aloud, and it can come true.
Right. Listen to yourself say it. Listen, say it every single day. I say 3 times a day minimum, and get to work. That's it. You put all your energy, put all your focus on what you are trying to bring into reality. Speak it up on form and substance, like Wallace D. Waddle says in The Power of Getting Rich, and get to work. Action, 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 and speaking things into existence. Power of the tongue.
All right. Power of the Tongue is your latest book. What was your? Because you released 3 books. What were your first 2 books entitled?
No, this Power of the Tongue here is just my first book.
Okay.
I have 2 other ones because it's a guerilla-glue. So I have 2 other ones that are coming out that are actually parts of this first book.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to break it up into 3 parts. This first book introduces you to my past. The second book is going to introduce you to what's going on right now in my present, which is also becoming my past as well. But then that third book is going to show you how I'm going to tell you how my life is going to turn out. And I'm going to make sure it turns out that way. If not, it's going to be super close to it.
Okay. Explain this term to me. Explain this term to me.
Right.
It's guerilla-glue. What is actually guerilla-glue when it comes to publishing and authoring?
Basically, it's basically when the book has multiple parts. So guerilla-glue is basically telling you to expect the next series to come out very soon. That's going to continue. It's a continuation of a book.
Okay. Okay.
So everything is not being said in this first book. It's just an introduction. And then that second book is going to kind of enlighten you on what the first book was talking about and give you more detail. And then that third book is going to close you out.
Okay. How have people received Power of the Tongue?
They're posting it so much online. They love it. They love the fact that they can relate to my story. And, you know, not all the gang activity and stuff like that. Some of that is like, wow, hey, I didn't even know that he was into that sort of stuff. Basically because of how I carry myself now, because my image is everything. I am my business card, right? So, and I tell people that all the time, like, you are your business card. Your social media is also what people look at. So that's your business, which you don't understand. But now, people are taking this book and really relating to it. Like these are things that are happening in other people's families as well, that other people are going through. And now I'm showing them like, hey, this is just the beginning. you know, or this is just a little pain right now. You know, it'll last a few days or it'll last a few years or a few months or something like that, but eventually it will subside. You just have to keep pushing, like I did. I'm showing you right now. I'm telling you right now that you're going to get through it. So they're taking the book pretty well, you know, like they've been waiting for something like this to come out and just share the raw and uncut version of especially people from my city. I'm telling the story of what a lot of kids are going through right now and have gone through in their lives. That it takes a lot. It took a lot for me to put this book out because I had to cope with my story. I had to cope with everything that I've been through. I've cried a lot of times typing this book up and rereading it to friends and family and seeing like how it would come off to other people, you know, or how they would feel about it. But yeah, it's a very emotional piece for me when I read it.
All right, you know, a lot of authors I've had a chance to interview definitely want their books brought to the big screen or the small screen one day. Is that something that you would like to see happen with your books?
I would like to see. You know, I just want people to get the information. I want people to get the story. I want people to understand that everything happens for a reason. And if you push hard and you keep pushing, no matter what the circumstances come to, that you can accomplish anything. You can get, like, I want to get to the big screen. I want to get to the big screen, small screen, whatever screen there is. I just want to get the information out there. I'm not greedy for fame. I'm not greedy for recognition or anything like that. I just want the information to get out there. It can be anonymous for all I care. I just want the information to get out there. My goal is to help people, and that's become my main focus. I pride myself on service. You know, I didn't always used to be like this.
I can definitely dig that. So look, let's close this thing out real quick. My last question is, how powerful and impactful is social media when it comes to being an author?